Welcome to the Workforce Wire podcast, brought to you by Employ Prince George's, bridging the gap between job seekers and businesses. And now, here's your host, Walter Simmons.
Welcome to the Workforce Wire, brought to you by Employ Prince George's. I'm your host, Walter Simmons, and today our topic is using social media in your job search. This podcast today is really going to be for job seekers and workforce professionals because, one, job seekers need to know the role that social media plays in their job search recruitment process. And workforce professionals, we need to do a better job of preparing people to utilize their social media in job search to really help them achieve their goals and gain employment. So 2.7 billion people across the world use social media, but it really shows that only about 50% of social media users use their social media for job search. What's key is, though, studies show that up to almost 70% of employers use social media when they're recruiting candidates. So as your conspiracy people and people with conspiracy theories know, Big Brother is always watching. And as parents always say, whatever you put on social media is up there forever. And they're right. It can come back to haunt you. But today, let's start out from a job seeker perspective on how to use social media to advance your job search. I would say the best utilization of a social media platform that can help you gain employment is LinkedIn. LinkedIn is a professional networking website, social media platform where you can create a profile. If you don't know who LinkedIn is right now, you're under a rock. So I'm assuming that all of our listeners right now know what LinkedIn is. But you can create a profile. LinkedIn also helps you because it can help you rank your profile. Are you a star or do you need help? And it can tell you how to improve it. But you're able to list your educational background, certifications, degrees. You can list your work history, any volunteer opportunities, any boards you're on. And then what I think one of the greatest aspects of LinkedIn is that you can list your recommendations. You can solicit recommendations. I think this is great because once somebody gives you a recommendation, you can input it on your resume because it's already public knowledge, and you can include in your resume all these fun facts about you that comes from other people. And the best recommendation comes from professionals, board directors, people who are of influence that can speak to your character or your work ethic. So that's kind of the basics of LinkedIn. But I would also say LinkedIn can help you. People say there's like 6 degrees of separation for everybody. You can use LinkedIn to close the gap in your degrees. You can, I call it social media stalking. And there's nothing wrong with social media stalking if you're using it to gain employment. So what does that mean, Walter? Social media stalking, what does that mean? That means if I'm going to apply for Boeing, Employ Prince George's in Prince George's County, Maryland. We border DC on 3 sides. There's a Boeing office located in Northern Virginia and Alexandria, 10 minutes from the Employ Prince George's office, 15 minutes if you drive slow, 30 minutes if it's Beltway traffic, but that's another topic for our listeners. But in general, I find out I can Google, go to Boeing, I can look, I can Google, I can see what's going on at Boeing. I can research it. Then I can fact check it with LinkedIn, look at their profile. But also I can figure out what employees of the Boeing in Alexandria are on LinkedIn. I can find out who the HR generalist is or who an HR director is, and you can message them to connect and become a professional colleague of theirs. And sometimes it'll ask you to send a message to connect with, because people don't want to connect with strangers. You can say, oh, I'd like to connect with you. We're in the same industry. Just like to be able to share ideas. And most people look at that. Even if they read it, they connect it, they say yes. Some people don't connect with people who are strangers, but that kind of defeats the purpose of LinkedIn because it's for networking and meeting people you don't know. And also staying connected with people you do know but you don't speak with regularly. But that's how easily you can connect with a person who's making an HR decision. Then you have to figure out, how do you pop up in their thread? And the reason why you do this is because subconsciously, the HR process has flaws. If anytime you use something that can have human error, there's a flaw in it. But what's positive for people who are really using social media in their job search and using social media is a flaw is people are going to naturally connect with something they can relate to, they identify with. So your goal on your social media job search and working with LinkedIn is to subconsciously integrate your profile and yourself into the search history, the pop-ups, and into the brain of this person who can make an HR decision to get you hired. So back to my topic on Boeing and me trying to get a job at Boeing, I would identify an HR generalist, an operations manager, or an HR manager if you can find them. Now, it's hard for a large company like Boeing, but again, you can identify different people within your network, and this is prior to even going on an interview. Once you do this, you identify the things that they like. You identify the articles. You read their posts. You read the articles or things that they shared. You find out their blogs. You find out what their interests are. And then you can determine where is their alignment from the things that you like, that you do. And this means that if a person is posting about the aeronautical industry and they post a magazine or article, you like that article, or you share that article, or you read that article and you make your own post about it. That way, that trending topic or that hashtag that you post, it'll pop up with that other person's that HR personnel's person's post or on their trending topic on their thread. And it might say like, hey, Walter also shared this article, or hey, you might pop up on their news feed because you used a hashtag that they used. Now, I'm not telling our listeners and our job seekers to just go repost every single thing that they see somebody post. You can't do that. You got to be smarter in your social media stalking. You have to be methodical. You have to be strategic. But really, you have to make sure that you start popping up on this person's news thread and you're using the same trending topics. Secondly, and you advance past just a specific employer, you look at an industry and you start friend requesting people in that industry and various HR professionals that are in that industry. And you do the same thing. You look at what they're sharing. You look at what they're reading. You look at what you're liking. You read the same thing they're reading to make sure your current topics, you're up to date on trends in the economy and trends in that industry. You start making your own post. You start sharing it. And eventually you will start popping up on their thread. And they'll start liking your posts. They'll start looking at it. They start reaching out and connecting to you. Then if you connect with somebody who's connected to somebody else, it'll say, oh, are you connected with Walter? Because he's connected with two of your other colleagues. This is how you strategically insert somebody's network. This is how you go to somebody being 6 degrees away to 1 degree away. And I'm not going to personally name the people that I've done this to, but they are my connections and colleagues now. But some of these people who are very influent in the workforce industry and are distinguished professionals, 5 years ago when I was making my climb professionally in workforce development, I used the same strategy to get in their circles. And it was very beneficial. I'm still not going to say their names because it might be kind of strange. They might judge me a little bit, but it worked, right? It really did work. And secondly, related to LinkedIn, I'm going to go back to my original item that I think is the best part about LinkedIn is recommendations. I would get recommendations for people I worked with, my internal colleagues, people I partnered with, my external colleagues, supervisors, education instructors, my college presidents, and I probably have 30 recommendations on my profile that I can now use on all of my professional networks. But it also shows to people who are scrolling through my page, and if you want to visit me, it's Walter Simmons on LinkedIn. It's Walter Simmons on all social media platforms, on Facebook as well. And you can see all of the recommendations I have. And I've actually received feedback from other professionals like, wow, I saw that so-and-so gave you a recommendation, so I knew I should talk to you. That let me know that worked. That let me know that recommendations of other professionals is very significant. It's also significant because, again, 70% of employers have said they used social media in their recruitment process, and a lot of them are using LinkedIn. So to my workforce professionals, every American Job Center should have a social media job search workshop, or using LinkedIn in your jobs, or using Facebook, to make sure that we're giving our job seekers the tools to be successful. But you also have to make sure that the staff that are providing it actually use LinkedIn and are skilled professionals. So there's a number of different resources online to utilize to learn about how to use social media job search. If you want more information, you can visit Employ Prince George's online. Our URL, our website is www.employpg.org. If you're a job seeker in Prince George's County or in the DC metropolitan area in Maryland, and you want to come visit one of our social media job search workshops at our American Job Center in Largo, Maryland, you can give us a call at 301-618-8425. That's 301-618-8425. But again, LinkedIn is a key, one of the biggest tools that you can use in your job search as a job seeker and as a workforce professional. You should really make sure that all of your workforce development staff are knowledgeable of LinkedIn and how they can help their customers use social media in their job search, and make sure it's something that you're talking about in your job search. Let's jump to Facebook. All right, so we just finished talking about LinkedIn. Now let's talk about Facebook. Well, before we get to Facebook, I don't really think employers are using Instagram, Snapchat, whatever else is out there to use in their recruitment process. I really think you can use Facebook and LinkedIn are two of the largest. Now, are employers could they be looking at these different platforms to determine a job seeker's character? Yes. One of the biggest things that I think is the key is people doing lewd acts or making lewd gestures, posting different things to how they appear. Yes, people are looking at it, and unfortunately, people say, well, that's discrimination. It happens. It's hard to prove that an employer did it. The best bet is when you're job searching, just close all of those profiles. I don't think anybody ever doesn't post something. If you're young, you're not caring about it. 16, 17, 18, you don't care about what an employer says. And no matter how many times a parent says, oh, whatever you post on social media is there forever, son. People don't care. I didn't care. So I would tell you all, don't go back and delete all your photos unless you just don't care. Save the memories, love the memories, but close all of your profiles while you're doing a job search. Whatever's already out there is out there. You can't do anything about it, but close them all. Don't think that you're so secretive that they can't find you, because they literally pay people to find people. And I've talked to people who have a job of, my sole job at this larger company is just to find people on social media. And they find everything. So just get rid of the profile and move forward. Or you can create a duplicative profile that you think is going to come up in everybody's searches. Because odds are, when you talk to some of these people who do the research, if they find your profile, they don't go looking for a second profile or a catfish profile. So I learned this when I was in college. Create profiles and create your website resume. You want to, when people Google you, you want them to find that social media profile that you want them to see. You want to share articles. You want to post articles that you're in a newspaper, share it to your social media, tag the newspaper, because then that's the kind of things that pop up. Sometimes you really have to create a social media profile with the same name, the full name you put on your application, and the same name that you have on your resume, so that's what pops up. You can also jump ahead of all of this and include the links, the URLs, to your social media profile on your resume. Make it easy. Don't even have them to find it. You can even in your application, you can say, when they say additional comments, hey, you can, if you want more information that's not listed on this resume, please visit my social media profiles and include that links in the application. So you can include your social media links to your profile in your application and on your resume, and you can actually circumvent the process of them researching and show them what you want them to see. Make their jobs easier. Recruiters look at your resume for a couple of seconds. They might spend a couple of minutes when they backtrack it. So this makes that job easier. And if they can cross off the list of having a great profile and they have another 200 applicants to read, believe me, they'll do it and they'll move on to the next. So be able to, sometimes it might be good to create a professional profile. Now, with that said, do not create a public figure profile. It makes you look vain. If you don't have, I commonly tell people on social media says on Facebook, you can't have more than 5,000 friends, or you click it says unable to friend request. If you have 500 friends and you're listed as a public figure, you're 4,500 friends away from actually truly being a public figure. Now, if you do have over 5,000 friends and people can't friend request you, it gives you a little bit of, you're kind of official in being a public figure. I'll say that. The average person on social media, they said, that is actually like a socialite and an active person has around like 2,000 friends, they said. I've read before. They said the average person might have several hundred. But, they talk about top-level socialites and whatever their network is. They average about 2,000. So if you're at 5,000, you're double that. You could use the professional, be a professional figure. But in general, I would stray away from that because it kind of makes you look like a narcissistic person or a person that's full of themselves from a recruiting standpoint. But you still, I would go and say, let's play the game. Create a professional Facebook that people can search, and then your personal Facebook can be your middle name, it can be your nickname, it can be whatever you want it to be, but it should be something that they can't find. So either create a professional Facebook, delete your other social media accounts, but safest bet I would say is delete your personal social media accounts, create a professional social media account, and do that until you have the job. And keep in mind, the moment that you apply for the job, the moment that you tell somebody you're looking for the job, you are in the job search process. So you might not ever submit an application, but Big Brother is watching you. They're watching. So be prepared for when they're watching you. Okay, so let's go back to Facebook. A lot of adults, I'm not saying our young people, our 16, 17-year-olds, they're not even really using Facebook. They use Snapchat, they use Instagram, they use Twitter, then they use Facebook. So I'm talking to everybody. The two largest subsets of people in our workforce now are baby boomers and millennials. Millennials are not 18-year-olds. People, stop calling your 17-year-old a millennial. They are no longer a millennial. So let's talk to you people that are in your 30s, early 40s, late 20s maybe, that you were young when Facebook was the thing. Facebook was on and popping, and you posted a lot of things that you didn't really want to post or shouldn't have posted. But again, you're in college, you're young, you're in high school, you posted some things that you shouldn't have done. You need to clean. If you don't want to shut off your social media or deactivate it, you really need to clean it up. You need to remove pictures. You need to look at posts. You need to set your security settings that people can't search you. You need to set your security settings that people can't find you, that people can't post on your wall. But again, I think the best action is to deactivate your personal and create a professional social media and Facebook page. Key topic right now, politics. If you're looking for a job, politics, unless you are running for elected office, even if you work in politics, stay away from politics when you're in a job search. You don't know what political affiliation, you don't know what personal biases a recruiter has, and you'll never know. And you can go down a really deep and wrong and uphill path if you're talking politics on your Facebook and you're trying to get a job. So stray away from politics on Facebook and all social media. But again, you can social media stalk people to get into the network. But the difference with Facebook is a lot of times people know that LinkedIn is used professionally. A lot of times people's Facebook is their personal. So you have to really be sure that when you friend request somebody, if their Facebook profile is their family or is them enjoying themselves, they're most likely not using their Facebook professionally, and you probably shouldn't friend request it to just get a connection. Now, if they have a suit and their bio says, this is the director of so-and-so for this company, they probably are using their Facebook as a professional networking tool. And I think you should friend request them to help, get in the door, close those degrees of separation between you and the person that's making hiring decisions. But also, once you do that, make sure your Facebook is the best representation of you. All of your social media platforms should be the best representation of you. And when I say best, I mean your best professional. We don't want to know your hottest rap lyric. We don't want to know. People also technically posting your kids. Like you have all these kids, and you have a new toddler. You got to think: what if the person you're interviewing doesn't like kids? It's not right, but it happens. What if the person you're interviewing thinks that, oh, if they have kids, they're going to be late to work. They're always going to be sick. What if the person that's interviewing you doesn't have kids or can't have kids? These are these biases that you'll never know they have, and they'll never tell you, and you'll never know that you've been discriminated against. But you won't have a job because of somebody else's internal bias. The best way to prevent that level of discrimination or any of those questions, if it doesn't relate to your professional persona and who you are, remove it. Now, if you're going to work for a preschool, you're working for a teacher, you're advocating for a job about working with youth or advocating for babies, it might be a good job to be on your professional persona to have a lot of pictures of babies, and you can hashtag how you're protecting our babies or advocating for our babies, or you're the greatest preschool teacher ever. But if it's not related to that, you shouldn't have it. Your best you professionally should have posts and different pictures that relate to who you are professionally. You want to make sure it's your best you. And so that's what I would move forward. And again, I'm really just going to harp on and say, hey, deactivate your personal social media accounts, create professional social media accounts, primarily Facebook and LinkedIn, to be who you are. Now, we kind of talked about, for our job seekers, LinkedIn and Facebook, using that. Let's talk about Twitter. Businesses use Twitter. I don't think a lot of recruiters are using Twitter. But if you want to become trending, if you want to identify and find somebody on LinkedIn, then you find their Twitter page, start tweeting. Don't tweet them if they don't know you, because then again, you're going to look real strange. But tweet trending topics that are their trending topics. Tweet things that you think they might research, so that, again, you can subconsciously enter their network. And then when they see that resume come past their desk, they're going to be like, where did I see this name? How do I know this person? They're going to read your resume and be like, I like this person. And you have successfully, subconsciously integrated into their social media mind and their social media brain. And then once they read their resume, they're going to have that connection with you. And I really think that'll lead you to getting a job. So again, Facebook, LinkedIn, and then Twitter, but your number one tool is going to be LinkedIn. Again, if you want to attend a Prince George's County LinkedIn workshop facilitated by one of our American Job Center partners or one of our workforce instructors at Employ Prince George's, visit us at www.employpg.org or call our American Job Center at 301-618-8425. I'm going to jump to the employer perspective, because Employ Prince George's employs about 70 full-time employees. And I'm going to tell you, every position that I employ and that I'm recruiting for, when I'm looking at a resume and I'm in front of my computer, I put every single person, I Google search them. And I go to find their social media account. I find their LinkedIns. I find their Facebooks. I find whatever I can find. And I start going through and seeing, who is this person? What do they do? How do they reflect? Because when you hire someone or when somebody works for a company, they become the representation, the brand of that company, personally and professionally. And I want to make sure that, one, this person is who they say they are. Two, that their resume reflects that what the morals and things they submitted in their application and in their resume reflects what they say and post. But then three, also to just understand who the person is. You can look at life events on social media and determine on what happened in a professional setting. Like if they say, oh, well, I left my job in 2018 because I decided to pursue another opportunity. I can go online and see if you said a social media post that said, hey, I punched my boss and I got fired today. I'm like, oh, red alert. They had a physical altercation with one of their colleagues. That might not be a safe person to employ. But these are things that might not always be the best inference from a recruiter, but they're things that recruiters use to find people. But the opposite side is, I have gone on people's social media and and fell in love with this person's professional persona. They were posting about all of the topics that I like. They were members of the same associations. They were members of the same social media groups. And I knew right there that person was the person I wanted to interview. I don't know if they might have went to one of our workshops and figured out how to insert themselves subconsciously into my network. But if they did, it worked. If they currently work here now, if you're an Employ Prince George's staff and you did that and you work for Employ Prince George's, congratulations. Please come tell me. I won't judge you. I want you to facilitate a workshop. You are a success story, and I think it's great. I really think it's great. I don't think there's anything wrong with social media stalking people and professionally integrating yourselves into their network. Again, I'm a social media stalker for professional uses to help grow my career, grow Employ Prince George's, grow Prince George's County. I always want to connect with people. If I found out that President Trump was actually looking at his social media, which we know, and that he had a grant for Prince George's County for helping counties grow their workforce system, you better believe you would start seeing Employ Prince George's and Walter Simmons posting and tweeting about how great the Prince George's County workforce system is and how we should get funding from the Department of Labor. I have no shame in promoting our workforce system to bring in resources for our job seekers and businesses, and that's what it's supposed to do. But really, employers really use this tool to ascertain and grow and fact check and see who they are. And again, I already mentioned it, 70% of employers and recruiters are already using social media. So, workforce professionals. I think every American job center should have at least 2 social media workshops. They should have a workshop on the do's and don'ts to social media in your job search. And then they should have a workshop on how to use LinkedIn to secure employment or to get access to HR decision makers. I think you should have those at least. Now, you really do need to, if you really want to invest in social media workshops and job search, you need to break it down by demographic. WIOA, the Workforce Innovation and Opportunity Act, that every local area has funds for in this country, has 3 populations: WIOA youth, WIOA adult, WIOA dislocated worker. Normally, adult and dislocated worker are kind of combined together. So you should have all of these social media workshops geared towards your adult and dislocated workers. And then you should have social media workshops dedicated to your youth. Our youth program, which is Knowledge Equals Youth Success, PGC Keys on all social media, they do several hours throughout their process of social media training for youth that are in their program. And that's our Disconnected Youth Program from 18 to 24. Again, you can find them on our website, www.employpg.org. But you can also find them on social media at PGC Keys. That's PGCKEYS. Knowledge Equals Youth Success. We've had Martin Copeland on the show. He does a great job. So you can find Martin Copeland on social media as well. But every workforce area should have these. Now, one of the topics and one of the things that I think is a new innovative technique in social media goes back to Facebook. Even though I think it's number 2 in the social media profile effort, and it's aligned with, falls in lines with Twitter. Even though I believe Twitter is more of a company connection aspect, I think it's good for companies to use it. I don't know how good it is for connecting individually with recruiters. But is social media, Facebook has these groups. You can look to the left of your toolbar, either if you're looking on your phone or if you're looking on a computer. If you look to the left, but I think you can always find this group on the left side. And then you can join and find different groups. Maryland, the DMV, DC, Maryland area has a social media group, 2 social media groups, but one of the ones that I found to be the most significant is DMV Job Connection. So if you're in the DC, Maryland area and you're looking for a group to join, DMV Job Connections. This group has 58,000 members. And every day I see hundreds of posts of job seekers, recruiters, and current employees giving tips, letting them know of current opportunities, finding different job fairs and training programs. I really think this is one of the best things I've ever seen, is utilizing a social media or specifically a Facebook group to connect with job seekers. They say that the best way to move forward and to break a practice, or like you hear Alcoholics Anonymous, which is a group setting style to overcome alcoholism as a disease. But now you also hear the equivalent of that in the workforce is like a job club, which allows people to collectively come together and discuss their job search or job search in a group. We actually have job clubs for our job seekers accessing our American Job Center. And we have a job club for our returning citizens. People who have criminal records coming into our job center. If you want to get access to our job clubs in Prince George's County, again, visit us at www.employpg.org. And we actually have our American Job Center Community Network, which is all of our workforce centers and workforce partners. We have a website where you can visit us at www.pgcajc.com. Again, that's www.pgcajc.com, and you can learn about the job clubs that we have. And the job clubs allow people to come in, talk, share ideas, brainstorm tips and techniques. They can vent their frustrations, and they identify employment and training opportunities. And this is the exact same thing that we're seeing pop up with these DMV Job Connections or Chicago Employment Network. These are these groups that are ran by general individuals that provide workforce development tips, techniques, and opportunities. I literally love it. So if you're in the DC metro area, look at DMV Job Connections. We post opportunities. I see a lot of different employers posting opportunities, but it's a great opportunity. I think this is really innovative when you look at the difference. There's also another group that I see called DMV Job Listings, where it's more of a closed-in group, and I see a lot of these. They have them for healthcare, they have them for professional services, they have them for landscaping, but these are all various groups on Facebook that are tailored to workforce development, some that are just general, kind of what you would say is a chat room or a blog, some are more tailored to specific industries. I really encourage job seekers to look in and find these groups. Have other people helping you search for a job because you can't find everything. And I really say, people, when you're unemployed, your job search is your full-time job. You should apply for 7 jobs a day, every day, at least, or 8. You should apply for a job every hour of an 8-hour day, and then you can take a lunch break. That's why I said 7 and not 8. But really, and on that end, you're applying for jobs for not 40 hours, you're applying for 56. Saturday and Sunday count too. But these job clubs or these workforce development or job search groups in Facebook and in other social media areas are really an opportunity to identify and find opportunities that other people are identifying and posting that you may not have seen. Workforce staff. I encourage all of my staff, business consultants that are working with businesses, to get in these groups, because when they identify a recruiter that's posting or a business that's posting, they need to find that person and say, hey, I see you posted this. I have people. Career consultants, you can, people that are working in our American Job Centers, refer your customers to use this. If you're doing a social media in your job search training, give them a tool that people can use positively to find a job and use this. You can also use it to find tools and techniques. You can see what people are posting and get content for your workshops. You can find the good things that people are posting in these groups. You can find the bad things, and you can have samples of what not to do on your job search or what should you do. But really, there's a lot of great content in these groups for job seekers and for workforce development professionals. So I think for this 30 minutes of the Workforce Wire and using social media in your job search, I want to recap. Because today, our listeners, normally I have a guest. Today, you're stuck with me. But I want to recap on a couple of things. What are the 2 social media platforms that I think are the best for using in your job search? 1 is LinkedIn. 2 is Facebook. I think 1, again, I tie in Twitter there. I know people are going to disagree with me. It's okay. People disagree with me all the time. But this is the Workforce Wire, brought to you by Employ Prince George's, and you're stuck with Walter Simmons. So I'm going to say LinkedIn and Facebook. What do I think you should deactivate your social media accounts? Yes. When you are searching for a job, deactivate everything. But on the other hand, do I think you should create a professional Facebook and have your professional LinkedIn? Yes. I think everybody should have a professional social media account. With that said, let's see if any of you can find my personal Facebook account. I'm not going to give you any tips, but I know you can find my professional because I put it out. I put the URL and link everywhere. But I think everybody should have a professional Facebook profile account and a LinkedIn. On a side note on it, I'm put an asterisk. If you don't have 5,000 friends, if when people click friend you and a box doesn't pop up and say this person is no longer able to accept friends, it should not be what you call a public figure profile. Don't do that. That's not a good look. Create a professional profile, but don't make it a public figure. Using Facebook social media groups. It's the greatest tool out there for job seekers and businesses. Job seekers and workforce professionals, and businesses can use it too to connect with the community. Lastly, I would say is workforce professionals. We need to ensure that all of our American job centers have a social media and your job search workshop, and make sure it's tailored to specific target demographics. WIO has target populations. Use it. Use it if you're a local workforce professional. And businesses, I think you should be using, if you're not using it, says 70%, stats say 70% are. If you're not using it, you need to be the last 30% coming to the party. Utilize this to identify and fact check and see who you hire, see if they match that company culture, see if they have the skills, see if what you want them to do from their 9 to 5 is their passion. See if when they leave work, do they still believe in what you're asking them to do? Because if it's their passion in life, you can guarantee that there's a good chance that they will do great from a 9 to 5. Again, these are my tips for using social media in your job search. If you want to learn more about what we're doing in Prince George's County, Maryland, visit Employ Prince George's at www.employpg.org. If you want to visit and see what's going on in our American Job Centers in our Prince George's County American Job Center Community Network, visit us at www.pgcajc.com. You can find us online at American Job Center Largo, Employ PG. You can find us everywhere on social media. Again, this is Walter Simmons for the Workforce Wire, brought to you by Employ Prince George's. Thank you for listening, and I hope this is something that job seekers, businesses, and workforce professionals can use in your everyday. Good luck and keep it pushing. Thank you.